Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my unit review for Formal, Noelle, and Joachim. I did not even attempt to summon for these units, so this review will be purely based on mods and text alone. I'm basically just theory crafting. So let's start with Noelle. She retained her element in wind, but instead of a wand, she's a staff. That right there already puts her in a weird spot since staff units became less useful over time, mainly due to the implementation of shared skills. However, staff can still be used in higher difficulty content depending on where you're at in the game, but most people don't use healers in co-op. They're gonna mainly be used in full auto. Skill 1 is a regen heal. It actually has the same SP cost as Lowen's S1. The difference is that Noelle's has a regen heal while Lowen's is a one-time burst heal, and his has the ability to remove bog. So in terms of healing, Noelle's going to heal more overall. On the other hand, Lowen's bog removal is great for content where bog can be dangerous, such as in the Ciela fight, and it's also useful for full auto. Skill 2 costs 8,352 SP and 16,075 SP as a shared skill. It deals one hit of 1,425% wind damage, dispels one buff, and lowers poison resistance by 10%. The damage to SP cost ratio is not very good. In co-op, this is probably one of those skills that you want to just hold for dispelling. It's probably more important to do that in Master Ciela co-op. In Master Ciela, if there's a Noelle on the team, then she can allow the other players to run something else other than a dispel share skill, so that technically indirectly increases DPS. I guess I can say the same for Expert Ciela and Master's High Mercury, but those two die so quick to the point where those two really don't matter too much. The poison res debuff effect was on Halloween Melsa. I partly feel the same way about it as before, but this situation is a little bit different because this poison res debuff is on a healer. Poison res debuff is an interesting one. You can do a lot of cool things with it, such as enabling infinite poison stacks, which allows for more poison users to be on the same team. It also just helps with inflicting poison for when a fight takes too long and the foe's poison res builds up too high. Now, since Noelle is a healer with this effect, it does have some value in full auto, since full auto in harder content usually takes a while, so it's very easy to build up the foe's poison res. Therefore, Noelle could find a unique role there. Other than that though, all the other pros that come with poison res debuff, there's just always a better alternative to the solution, so while it's interesting, I don't find it anything too special. Recovery potency and poison equals user strength are her co-abilities. The chain co-ab is decent for poison users because it basically gives a free 13% strength buff for them. I believe you can find the same chain on Silas, so if you have Silas, then he would be a better option on the bench since he has a better co-ability 1. Regardless though, you probably don't have room to slot this in anyways because Wind has a decent amount of good combinations of co-ability and chains. Ability 1 is similar to Lowen's S2 in the sense that they both increase the team's max HP by 15%. For Noelle's, she has to cast S1 first, and that'll give her Force Strike this effect. That obviously means she's going to cap slower since Lowen has 100% skill prep. He can cast skill 2 right away and immediately give everyone on the team an increase in max HP. He'll also get a head start in gaining SP for the next cast. This makes Lowen a safer option in most scenarios, especially in solo full auto. Ability 3 is Poison Puncher. This really doesn't do much for Noelle since she's a staff that doesn't really deal much personal DPS. However, there is one way she can take advantage of this ability, and that's if you give her an offensive dragon, because the ability works when she's in dragon form. That means it's probably best that you give her Aerial as a dragon since Aerial carries a strength and skill haste aura in which both benefits Noelle's entire kit. Overall, Noelle is okay. In some ways she's better than Lowen, in some other ways she's worse. She's a little bit more offensive while Lowen is more defensive. Despite saying that, I still prefer Lowen. He has good enough heals for all contents in the game, has a way to dispel as well, a safer option because the burst heals are in 2 skills, and he has skill prep so he can increase the team's max HP right off the bat. And lastly, he has a defensive buff in skill 2, which makes him a better fit on double buff teams, which is what you want to run in win comps nowadays. The biggest upsides for Noelle is that she's a cheaper alternative to Lowen because you don't have to spiral her in order to get effects such as Dispel, and she can also output decent DPS during breaks with her dragon because of her Poison Puncher ability. She's not too bad, but not really a character that should be on top of your summoning list unless you just like the character, because a Spiral Lowen in most situations is either good enough or just plain out better. Next is Joachim. I thought he was going to be a close range metacaster, but I guess not. He's long range and just like Ilya, so dodge canceling C1 is probably what you want to do as him for gaining SP. Skill 1 costs 3060 SP. It deals 1 hit of 1012% wind damage and inflicts a new affliction called Storm Lash. If skill 1 is used right after skill 2, then skill 1 will deal 1 hit of 2064% wind damage instead. Alright, so the biggest issue with this skill is the base mod. The base mod for this skill is terribly bad. Skill 1 is only good if Joachim gets to use skill 1 right after skill 2, and that's kind of wonky because skill 2 costs double of S1 being at 6112 SP, so that means Joachim is going to end up dishing out bad damage half the time. And for some reason, skill 2 only inflicts poison with no mods, which I find really strange considering that his skill 1 isn't all that great. An issue to consider is that with long range Manacasters, you want to dash cancel C1 for the fastest SP gains, but here's the thing. His skill 1 only deals 1 hit, and if you dash cancel, you're not going to get many hits off either, so he's going to be a character that builds combo rather slow. In addition to that, I watched some random gameplay of him on YouTube and it seemed like using skill 2 dropped combo every single time without combo extender. I'm not sure if that's the case 100% of the time. You guys with Joachim would have to let me know because I don't have them. If it does drop combo and you don't have combo extender, then you're going to be better off with not using flurry prints. His co-abilities are Gauge Accelerator and Storm Lash equals user Water Res. These are the same kinds of co-abs as the other Manacasters. Gauge Accelerator is okay for speeding up the overdrive process, but there's spare options. The chain is not useful in co-op, but it's an okay chain in full auto to help with survivability. That's about it, but you probably won't be using Joachim in full auto since his AI is not very good from what I hear. Now for his abilities, he has two different kinds of punishers. There's Storm Lash and Poison Punisher. Both of these passives sort of help compensate for the low mods on skill 1. It actually makes him deal decent DPS if you can take advantage of both of these punishers. Not anything too special though since his mods are originally low, but it's not like he's going to be some wet noodle DPSer either. I think Joachim is just going to be one of those units that you just want to bench for later until we get more units and more prints. His DPS right now is probably somewhere in between average and just slightly above average, I would say, from looking at his entire kit. He's unique in the sense that he's the only character that can flick Storm Lash, so he could end up being a decent unit on a team for enabling two kinds of afflictions, Storm Lash and Poison. For now, he's the only one that can take advantage of it, so there's really no incentive for running him over a stronger DPS such as Luis or somebody else. It's like, why would you run Joachim over multiple Luises when double buff comps are king right now? There's no reason to. Although I do want to say that the long range Manacaster playstyle works really well in Master Ciela. The more mobile your character is, the better uptime on your DPS will be in Master Ciela because of all the projectiles that are flying around the map. So because you're always going to be dash canceling C1 with him, he can easily iframe everything while also dealing DPS at the same time. Joachim is just decent for now. I think he could be a sleeper pick in the future though. Right now we just gotta wait for more complementary pieces to come out first. This current Gala Remix banner should definitely be a skip. The two new characters aren't good enough to incentivize summoning considering that we have so many good banners coming soon. First off, there's going to be a collab banner at the end of this month. Despite the collab banner apparently having permanent characters, they are still focus characters, so that banner will give you the best chance at getting them. Then for next month, obviously we're going to be getting Christmas and a New Year's banner, which are both limited, so definitely save your summons if you guys are interested in those two banners. And that's going to wrap things up for my review on Formal, Noelle, and Joachim. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.